Sometimes people get so desperate that they'll accept help from anywhere. I was one of those people. I should have noticed something off about that man's eyes when I met him in the cemetery. Now I'm not sure what's real anymore. This story will drag you into the depths of darkness. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications for more terrifying tales. My name is Ray Daniels. I once had everything: a beautiful house in Salem, Massachusetts, a successful auto repair shop, a loving family. I'd been married to Jennifer for 12 years, and we had an 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Then, in 2023, everything changed. A big chain opened on the same street as my shop and took most of my customers. Business got bad, debts piled up. The stress drove me to drink. Jennifer and I argued constantly. One night I came home drunk. We fought, I yelled. When I woke up the next morning, Jennifer and Lily were gone. She'd left only a note: "We need some time away." A month later, my business went bankrupt. I couldn't pay the mortgage, so the bank foreclosed on my house. I'd lost everything. I started living in the small back room of my old mentor Jack's repair shop. I was scraping by with occasional jobs. Jennifer filed for divorce. I only got to see Lily every other weekend. I had hit rock bottom. On the night of February 28th, 2025, I had just finished the cheap whiskey I'd bought with my last few dollars. It was freezing outside. I was walking aimlessly near the old cemetery in Salem. It had been a year since Jennifer left me, and things were only getting worse. I stopped at the iron-gated entrance to the cemetery. Inside, headstones gleamed in the moonlight. In my desperation, I walked in. I sometimes came here to think. As I wandered among the gravestones, I suddenly came across a man. He was middle-aged with silver-gray hair, neatly combed. He wore a navy blue overcoat over what looked like an expensive suit. What was he doing in a cemetery on a cold February night? The man smiled at me. "Hard times, aren't they, Ray?" I was startled. "Do I know you?" "No," he said, "but I know you. I know what you've been going through lately, and I can help you." "How can you help me?" I asked skeptically. Carter smiled. "You can have everything back. Your house, your business, your family. All of it. Whether it was the alcohol or desperation, I wanted him to continue. "How?" "A simple deal," said Carter. "I'll give you everything you want. In return, I only ask you to do one thing for me." An alarm went off in my head. "What kind of thing?" Carter pointed deeper into the cemetery. "You see that old grave over there? There's a wooden box buried in that grave. I want you to dig it up and bring it to me." I was confused. "You want me to dig up a grave? That's illegal." "Yes, it is," said Carter. "But who will know? The cemetery is empty at night. And think about it, Ray. You can have everything back. Jennifer and Lily. Your house, your business, all of it." "Why is this box so important?" I asked. "It contains some documents," said Carter. "Important to me. And in exchange, you'll get everything you want." I considered the situation. The idea of grave digging was horrible, but I was so desperate. "What if I get caught?" "You won't," said Carter. "I promise you. And think, Ray, you'll see your daughter every day again. You'll get Jennifer back." A voice inside told me this was wrong, but another voice reminded me I had nothing left to lose. "Okay," I finally said. "Deal." Carter smiled. "Excellent. See that grave?" He pointed to an old, neglected grave. "Dig about 3 feet down, and you'll find a wooden box. Take it and bring it to me. Let's meet tomorrow night, right here." "Am I digging now?" I asked. "No," said Carter. "Tomorrow night. Go home and rest now. Don't forget to bring a shovel and a pickaxe." I went back to my room at Jack's shop, and strangely, I felt better, as if a light of hope had appeared. I wanted to believe Carter's words, but I was also starting to question my sanity. Had I really just agreed to dig up a grave for a stranger I met in a cemetery? The whiskey must have affected me more than I thought. The next morning, my phone rang. The screen showed the name of a large auto dealership from Boston. "Mr. Daniels," said the caller, "I'm Mark Sullivan from Wilson Automotive. Our regional service manager is retiring, and your name was given as a reference. If you're interested, we'd like to talk to you." I was shocked. "Yes, of course. When can we meet? Are you available this afternoon?" he asked. I went to the interview that day. The position was perfect. Good salary, health insurance, even a company car. The interview went great, and I received a job offer on the spot. As I was leaving the dealership, my phone rang again. It was Jennifer. "Ray," she said, a softness in her voice. "How are you? We need to talk." Maybe I acted too hastily. "Lily misses you so much. I miss you too." A lump formed in my throat. "I miss you both too. How about dinner tonight?" she asked. "Lily would be thrilled." "Sure," I said, stunned. "See you tonight." After hanging up, I was bewildered. Carter's words were coming true. I had found a good job. Jennifer had called. Was it just coincidence, or was something stranger happening? I couldn't help but wonder if I was losing my grip on reality. I hadn't been sleeping well, drinking too much, and the stress of the past year had taken its toll. Dinner with Jennifer and Lily was wonderful. Lily hugged me, not wanting to let go. Jennifer seemed changed, warmer, more forgiving. She said she would reconsider the divorce. Late that night, I found myself at the cemetery again, shovel and pickaxe in hand. Part of me couldn't believe I was actually doing this, but another part was desperate to see if Carter would keep his word. I found the grave Carter had pointed out. It was an old, neglected headstone, the name eroded by years of weather. I checked around. No one was there. I started digging. The ground was hard, but my motivation was high. After digging about 3 feet, my shovel hit something hard, a wooden box, just as Carter had said. I carefully extracted the box. It was made of old, carved wood. I filled the grave back in, trying to hide all traces of my work. I hid the box under my coat and left the cemetery. When I reached the meeting point with Carter, I examined the box while waiting for him. It had strange symbols on it. My curiosity got the better of me, and I opened the box. Inside, there was an old journal and a small bottle. I read the first page of the journal, Salem, 1692. This journal is a record of true witchcraft. The bottle in the box contained a dark red liquid. Its label had just one word, agreement. At that moment, Carter's voice came from behind me. You shouldn't have opened it. I turned. Carter was there, but he looked different. His eyes seemed to gleam in the moonlight, but that could have been a trick of the light. Our deal was to bring the box, he said, not to open it. What is this? I asked, pointing to the journal. The true history of Salem, said Carter. And the bottle, that's a seal of agreement. You broke the deal, Ray. What did I break? I said, fear rising inside me. I brought the box, wasn't that the deal? The deal was to bring the box closed, said Carter. Now you've seen the contents. That changes things. What will happen to me, I asked. The terms of the agreement still stand, said Carter. You'll get everything back. But because you broke the deal, there will be consequences. What kind of consequences? Carter smiled, but this smile wasn't at all genuine. You'll see in time. Now give me the box. I handed the box to him. Carter took it and walked away, disappearing into the shadows of the cemetery. I stood there for a moment, holding the journal I had unconsciously kept in my hand. I wasn't sure what had just happened, or if any of it was real. Maybe I was hallucinating from stress and alcohol. The next day, I started my job at Wilson Automotive. Everything was going perfectly. Jennifer asked me to move back home. The bank called. They said there had been a mistake with my mortgage. The house was still mine. Within a week, I was back to my old life. Jennifer, Lily, and I were happy in our home. My job was great. My salary was high. Everything seemed fine. But then strange things began to happen. First, our neighbor Mark suddenly fell ill and was hospitalized. Doctors couldn't find the cause. A week later, he died. Then my boss Mark Sullivan had a strange car accident. He survived but was severely injured. I was promoted to his position. Jennifer's best friend Sarah fell at home one night and broke her neck. She died in the hospital. Each disaster seemed to make my life better. Mark's house went up for sale. We bought it very cheaply and started earning rental income. From Sarah's insurance, Jennifer received a large sum of money since she was named as the beneficiary. I began to worry. All these events couldn't be coincidences. I remembered the journal I had kept from the cemetery and started reading it. The more I read, the more disturbed I became. The journal was supposedly written by a man who lived in Salem in 16. He introduced himself as a warlock and wrote about gaining power by making agreements with desperate people. The agreement is simple, he had written. Give the person what they want, ask for a small thing in return, but never explain the full terms. Our existence feeds on the misery of others. On the last page there was a terrifying note. If the agreement is broken, the person still gets what they want, but each happiness will be paid for with someone else's pain. Their loved ones will fall one by one, and finally the person they love most will be the last. I began to tremble with fear. Was this really happening? Or was I losing my mind? I had been under extreme stress for over a year. Was I having some kind of breakdown? I went to the cemetery to find Carter. I waited there all night, but he didn't come. I searched for days, weeks, but I couldn't find any trace of him. I started having trouble sleeping. Nightmares plagued me. Dreams of Carter with glowing eyes, of graves opening, of loved ones dying. I began to drink more to numb the fear. Jennifer noticed the change in me. Ray, are you okay? She asked one night. You've been acting strange lately. You seem afraid of something. I couldn't tell her the truth. She would think I was crazy. Hell, I thought I might be crazy. I'm fine, I said, just stressed about work. But I wasn't fine. I became obsessed with protecting my family. I installed security cameras around the house. I checked the locks multiple times each night. I followed Jennifer to work, watched Lily's school from my car. Jennifer's concern grew. She suggested I see someone. I think you might be having some kind of delayed stress reaction, she said gently. After everything you've been through this past year. Maybe she was right. Maybe there was no Carter, no deal. Maybe I had imagined it all in my desperation. Or maybe it was real, and I had made a terrible mistake. One night I dreamt of Carter again. He was standing in our bedroom, watching Jennifer sleep. "Remember our deal," he said in the dream. "You opened the box. There are consequences." I woke up screaming. Jennifer held me, tried to calm me down. "It's just a nightmare," she said. "It's not real." But was it? I wasn't sure anymore what was real, and what wasn't. The next day, I made an appointment with a psychiatrist. Dr. Mitchell was a kind, older man with gentle eyes. I told him everything, about losing my family, my business, meeting Carter, the grave, the box, the journal, the strange accidents. He listened without judgment. When I finished, he nodded thoughtfully. "Ray," he said, "what you're describing sounds like a combination of extreme stress, possible depression, and elements of magical thinking. When we're at our lowest, our minds can create elaborate scenarios to help us cope. The character of Carter may represent your desire for an easy solution to your problems. But what about the job offer? Jennifer coming back? The accidents?" I asked. "Coincidences do happen," he said. "As for the accidents, it's possible you're making connections that aren't really there. This is called apophenia, seeing patterns in random events." He prescribed medication and weekly therapy sessions. "Let's work together to sort out what's real and what's not," he said. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that I was just sick, not cursed. But there was no Carter, no deal, no consequences, just my broken mind creating connections where none existed. But that night, as I was driving home from work, I saw Carter standing on the sidewalk. He tipped his hat to me as I drove past. When I slammed on the brakes and looked back, he was gone. I doubled my medication that night. I had to get a grip on reality. I had to figure out what was real and what wasn't. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into therapy. Dr. Mitchell helped me explore my fears, my guilt about the breakdown of my marriage, my feelings of inadequacy after losing my business. "Your mind created Carter as a way to absolve yourself of responsibility," he suggested. "If some mysterious figure is behind everything, then it's not your fault. You're not to blame for your failures or successes." That made sense. Too much sense. I wanted to believe it. The medication helped. The nightmares became less frequent. I stopped seeing Carter on street corners, in crowds, watching me from a distance. I started sleeping better. My anxiety decreased. Jennifer was supportive throughout this process. "We all go through rough patches," she said. "The important thing is that you're getting help." Things were looking up. I was excelling at my new job. Jennifer and I were reconnecting. Lily was happy to have her family back together. Maybe Dr. Mitchell was right. Maybe it had all been in my head. Then one evening, as I was leaving work, I found a small package on the seat of my car. Inside was the journal, the same one I had taken from the box in the cemetery, the one I had been reading obsessively before starting therapy, the journal I had thrown away weeks ago. My hands trembled as I opened it. On the last page, in fresh ink, was a new message. "Running out of time, Ray. The agreement stands." I drove home in a panic. When I arrived, Jennifer met me at the door, her face pale. "Lily's running a fever," she said. "It came on suddenly. She was fine this morning." I rushed to Lily's room. She was in bed, her face flushed, her breathing labored. "Daddy," she whispered, "I don't feel good." "It's okay, sweetheart," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "We'll take care of you." We took her to the hospital that night. The doctors ran tests, but couldn't find anything specific. Some kind of virus, they said. "Keep her hydrated, give her fever reducers, bring her back if she gets worse." We brought her home, but she didn't improve. Over the next few days, her condition deteriorated. We took her back to the hospital. More tests, no answers. "We're seeing more of these cases," one doctor told us. "Some kind of resistant virus. We're doing everything we can." I knew better. This wasn't a virus. This was the consequence. This was the price for my deal with Carter, for breaking the terms. That night, I went back to the cemetery. I stood at the grave where I had found the box and screamed Carter's name into the darkness. Nothing. No response. I went home and poured myself a drink, then another. I hadn't had alcohol since starting my medication, but I needed it now. I needed to numb the fear, the guilt. As I sat in the dark living room, I noticed movement in the corner. A figure emerged from the shadows. "Carter, you're not real," I said. "You're a hallucination, a product of stress and alcohol and guilt." Carter smiled. "Is that what the doctor told you? How convenient. What do you want?" I asked, my voice breaking. "I want what I've always wanted," he said. "To complete our agreement. Leave my family alone," I begged. "Take me instead. Do whatever you want with me." Carter shook his head. "That's not how this works. You opened the box. You saw what was inside. There are rules. What rules? What do you want from me? Carter sat down across from me. In the dim light, he looked almost normal, almost human. The journal, he said. Did you read it all? I nodded. Then you know what I am. What I've been doing for centuries. Making deals. Collecting payment. You're not real, I insisted. You're a delusion. A manifestation of my guilt. Carter laughed. Is that so? Then how do I know about the box? The journal? How do I know about Lily's mysterious illness that the doctors can't explain? I had no answer for that. Here's the truth, Ray, said Carter. I am real. The deal was real. But you have a choice now. You can continue to deny me, to fight me, and Lily will pay the price. Or you can accept what's happening and find a way to fix it. How? I asked desperately. How do I fix it? Find the bottle, said Carter. The one from the box. Drink what's inside. Take my place. Become the new deal maker. And if I do that, Lily will be okay. Carter nodded. She'll recover. Jennifer will never leave. Your life will be perfect. Except what? Except you'll be like me. Making deals. Collecting payment. For the rest of your life. I stared at him. That's insane. I won't do it. Then Lily dies, said Carter simply. And after her, Jennifer. And after her, everyone else you care about. One by one. He stood up. Think about it, Ray. I'll be waiting. You know where to find me. And then he was gone. Just like that. No dramatic exit. No supernatural display. Just gone. As if he'd never been there. I sat in the dark for hours, thinking. Was any of this real? Was I losing my mind? Or was there really some ancient, malevolent force making deals with desperate people? The next morning, I went to see Dr. Mitchell. I told him about the journal appearing in my car, about Carter's visit, about the choice I had to make. He listened patiently, then sighed. Ray, this is a classic manifestation of guilt. Your daughter is sick, and part of you blames yourself for all the troubles your family has experienced. Your mind has created this elaborate scenario where you're responsible, where only your sacrifice can save her. But what if it's real? I asked. What if Carter is real? There's no evidence of that, said Dr. Mitchell. Think about it rationally. An immortal deal-maker who grants wishes in exchange for objects from graves? It's a fantasy, Ray. A dark one, but still a fantasy. I wanted to believe him. I really did. But the journal sitting in my car said otherwise. The message in fresh ink said otherwise. Lily's mysterious illness said otherwise. I left Dr. Mitchell's office and drove to the cemetery. It was daytime now, bright and normal. I found the grave I had dug up. The headstone was weathered, but I could just make out the name, Ezekiel Carter. I went to the cemetery office and asked about the grave. The caretaker, an older woman with kind eyes, checked the records. Ezekiel Carter, she read, died 1692, one of the last victims of the Salem witch trials. Victims? I asked. She nodded. He wasn't one of the accused. He was a witness, testified against several of the women. After the trials ended, he was found dead in his home. Some said he killed himself out of guilt. Others said, well, people were superstitious back then. What did they say? I pressed. She looked uncomfortable. They said he made a deal with the devil, that he gained power by testifying against innocent women, and that when he died, his soul couldn't rest. It's just an old legend, of course. I thanked her and left. My mind was racing. What if the legend was true? What if Carter had been making deals for centuries, passing his curse from one person to another? But that was crazy, wasn't it? The rational explanation was that I was having some kind of breakdown, that Carter was a figment of my imagination, a way for my guilt-ridden mind to process my trauma. I drove to the hospital. Lily was worse. The doctors were talking about putting her on a ventilator. Jennifer was beside herself with worry. They don't know what's wrong with her, she sobbed. They've tried everything. I held her, trying to be strong. But inside, I was falling apart. If this was my fault, if Lily was suffering because of my deal with Carter, that night, I went back to the cemetery. I stood at Carter's grave and waited. Hours passed. Nothing happened. No Carter. No supernatural manifestation. Just the cold night air and the distant sound of traffic. You're not real, I said aloud. You're in my head. A delusion. A hallucination. I turned to leave, and there he was, Carter, standing just a few feet away. Are you sure about that, Ray? He asked. Are you willing to bet your daughter's life on it? I stared at him. I don't know what's real anymore. I don't know if you're real, or if I'm losing my mind. Does it matter? Asked Carter. If I'm real, then you need to make a choice. If I'm not real, if I'm just a manifestation of your guilt and fear, then you still need to make a choice. Either way, Lily's life hangs in the balance. He was right. Real or not, I had to decide. I had to act. What do I need to do? I asked. Carter smiled. Find the bottle. Drink what's inside. Take my place. And where is this bottle? You tell me, said Carter. You're the one who opened the box. I thought back to that night. I had opened the box, seen the journal and the bottle. I had kept the journal, but what had happened to the bottle? Had Carter taken it when he took the box? Or, it's still there, I realized, in the grave. I only took out the journal before you arrived. Carter nodded. Then you know what you need to do. I went back to the grave and started digging. This time, I didn't care if anyone saw me. This was for Lily, whether Carter was real or a delusion. Whether the curse was real or just my guilt manifesting, I had to try. I found the box again, opened it. The bottle was still there, the dark liquid inside catching the moonlight. I took it out, held it up. Is this real? I asked myself, or am I having a complete psychotic break? I didn't know, but I knew that Lily was sick, that the doctors couldn't help her, and that in my heart, I believed this was somehow my fault. I uncorked the bottle. The liquid smelled metallic, like old blood. I hesitated. Was I really going to drink this? Was I that far gone? It's your choice, Ray, said Carter's voice behind me. Drink and save Lily, or don't, and watch her die. It's up to you. I turned. Carter was there, watching me with those strange eyes that seemed to glow in the dark, though that could have been a trick of the light. If I drink this, I said, what happens to me? You become the new deal maker, said Carter. You take my place. You find desperate people, make deals with them, and one day when you're tired of it all, you find someone to take your place. The circle continues. And if I refuse, then Lily dies, said Carter simply, and you live with that knowledge for the rest of your life. I looked at the bottle in my hand. Was any of this real? Or was I standing alone in a cemetery, holding a bottle of God knows what, talking to myself? In the end, it didn't matter. I would do anything for Lily. Anything. I drank the liquid. It burned going down, like fire in my veins. For a moment, I felt nothing. Then a strange sensation, a clarity, a power. I looked at Carter. He seemed different now, older, weaker. Relief washed over his face. Thank you, he said. I'm free now. And then he was gone. Not in a supernatural way, but like a normal person walking away into the shadows. I went to the hospital. Lily was awake, her fever broken. The doctors were amazed. We don't understand it, they said. She's completely recovered. Jennifer was overjoyed. It's a miracle, she kept saying. Maybe it was, or maybe it was the result of a deal I had made with something that may or may not have been real. That was 6 months ago. Life has been good since then. My job is going well. My family is happy. But sometimes, at night I feel a strange pull, a desire to go to the cemetery, to wait for desperate people, to make deals. I've been back to see Dr. Mitchell. I told him about drinking the liquid, about Lily's recovery, about the urges I feel now. This is a complex manifestation of your trauma, he said. Your mind created a narrative where you sacrificed yourself for your daughter. Now that she's recovered, your mind is continuing that narrative. These urges you feel are just the next chapter in the story you're telling yourself. He increased my medication. It helps with the urges, but doesn't eliminate them completely. Sometimes I wonder if Carter was real, if the deal was real, if I'm now destined to be a deal maker, seeking out desperate souls, offering them what they want in exchange for small favors. Other times, I'm convinced it was all in my head, a breakdown triggered by stress, guilt, and alcohol, a fantasy my mind created to cope with my failures and fears. The truth, I don't know, and maybe I never will. But if you're ever walking through a cemetery at night, and a well-dressed man offers to help you in exchange for a small favor, think carefully before you agree, because some deals, whether real or imagined, come with consequences, and sometimes those consequences are too high a price to pay.